Après 8 ans, Justin Trudeau n'en vaut pas le coup et il n'en vaut pas la corruption. Après 8 ans de doubler le coût de logement, Justin Trudeau gaspille au moins 60 millions de dollars pour une application ArriveCAN qui ne fonctionnait même pas et qui a coûté 750 fois plus cher que Trudeau a promis. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, des mères monoparentales doivent mettre de l'eau dans le lait de leurs enfants parce que les taxes et les dépenses inflationnistes de Justin Trudeau ont gonflé le coût de nourriture. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, il y a 2 millions de Canadiens qui doivent aller chaque mois à une banque alimentaire parce que Trudeau a rendu le prix de nourriture trop cher. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, le coût de loyer a triplé à Montréal à cause des politiques qui empêchent la construction et qui gonflent le prix de tout. Et lorsque les Canadiens sont en souffrance, lorsque les Canadiens ne peuvent pas manger, se loger ou acheter des essentiels, Trudeau gaspille 60 millions de dollars pour une application ArriveCAN dont on n'avait même pas besoin. Regardons les faits qu'on a appris aujourd'hui sur ArriveCAN Trudeau. Le coût d'ArriveCAN est désormais 60 millions de dollars. Trudeau a promis que ça allait être 80 000 dollars. Donc, 750 fois plus cher que Trudeau a promis. L'Agence frontalière s'est inquiétée du fait que 12,2 millions de dollars pourraient ne pas être liés à ArriveCAN. Donc, c'était payé pour les entreprises de fournir ArriveCAN et il n'y a aucun lien avec ArriveCAN. Les fonds versés à GC Stratégie s'élèvent maintenant à 19 millions de dollars contre le 9 millions originellement indiqué par le gouvernement Trudeau. 18% des factures soumises par les contracteurs ne contenaient pas d'informations permettant de déterminer si les dépenses étaient liées à ArriveCAN. On sait maintenant qu'à peu près 75% des contracteurs engagés n'avaient fait aucun travail. Mais Trudeau les a payés votre argent quand même. Les frais moyens de ressources externes d'ArriveCAN étaient plus de 1,090 $ par jour par personne, lorsque la moyenne est déjà exorbitant, 675. Normalement, le gouvernement Trudeau paye ses contracteurs 675 $ par personne par jour, ce qui est ridicule. Mais avec ArriveCAN, c'était plus de 1 000 $ pour chaque personne, chaque jour. C'est pour ça qu'on voit que le montant dépensé sur des contracteurs et des consultants à l'externe a gonflé de plus de 100% jusqu'à 21 milliards de dollars. Ça veut dire 1 400 $ pour chaque famille canadienne payée en impôts et taxes au fédéral juste pour des consultants de l'externe de Justin Trudeau. Quel gaspillage de l'argent! Justin Trudeau n'en vaut pas le coup. 10 000 voyageurs étaient étaient ordonnés d'aller dans quarantaine pour 2 semaines. Des mères monoparentales qui ne pouvaient pas travailler, qui ont perdu leur salaire parce que Trudeau les a donné l'ordre d'aller en quarantaine par l'entremise de son application incompétent et corrompu ArriveCAN. Rien ne prouve que les employés de l'agence frontalière ont respecté le code de conduite. En fait, les cadres de Trudeau ont accepté des cadeaux comme le whisky et des autres boissons très chères des contracteurs auxquels ils donnaient votre argent. C'est ça, l'incompétence et corruption du gouvernement Trudeau. Les sous-traitants ne disposaient pas d'une habitation de sécurité appropriée. L'agence frontalière a déclaré qu'ils n'avaient pas accès aux données personnelles, mais ils ont augmenté le risque de violation de la sécurité. Et en parlant de la sécurité, au port de Montréal, Justin Trudeau fait en sorte que seulement 1% des conteneurs sont inspectés parce qu'on n'a pas assez de ressources pour la sécurité. C'est comme ça que nos voitures sont volées. Mais il a assez d'argent pour gaspiller 60 millions de dollars sur ArriveCAN. Ça, c'est un autre exemple où Justin Trudeau n'en vaut pas le coup, ni la corruption. C'est pour ça qu'on a besoin d'un gouvernement conservateur, de gros bon sens, qui va éliminer le gaspillage et la corruption, pour réduire l'inflation, les taxes et les impôts, pour que votre travail redevienne payant. Justin Trudeau, ses priorités, c'est la corruption. C'est plus de 60 millions de dollars pour ArriveCAN. Les conservateurs, nos priorités sont très simples. Couper les impôts et les taxes. Bâtir des logements. Réparer le budget. Et stopper le crime. Ce sont les priorités de gros bon sens et c'est ce que nous allons ramener chez nous. Thank you very much, everyone. After 8 years, Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost and not worth the corruption. After 8 years, Justin Trudeau has doubled housing costs. He's doubled the rent, doubled mortgage payments, doubled the needed down payment for the average home. After 8 years of Trudeau, you now have to save 25 years for a down payment on a home in Toronto, when you used to be able to pay off an entire mortgage in that time. After 8 years, young women wonder if they'll ever be able to have kids because they're stuck in their parents' basements until their early 40s, when under the previous government, the average age of buying a home was 29. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, criminal defense lawyers tell us that their convict clients are asking to stay in jail so they don't have to go out and find a place to rent, because prison is better than Justin Trudeau's housing market. After 8 years of Trudeau, a record-smashing 2 million people line up at food banks every single month in scenes that are reminiscent of the Great Depression. After 8 years of Trudeau, there are now 30 homeless encampments in Halifax alone, some scenes that were unimaginable only 8 years ago. After 8 years of Trudeau, violent crime has exploded by 40% at least, and growing quickly. We see a record-smashing increase in extortions and other serious crimes. And after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, while you can't pay your bills, where you can't afford a home, he's taken $60 million of your tax dollars and given it to a corrupt app, ArriveCAN, that doesn't work, that we didn't need, and that went 750 times over budget. Think of that the next time you go to the grocery store and you look at the cost of the food and that bill is too high for you to pay. Think of it the next time you look at his carbon tax, which he's quadrupling, on your heating bill, and you wonder if you'll be able to keep the heat on for the rest of the winter. He took $60 million of your dollars and put it into this ArriveCAN. Think of that when you see homeless people who can't afford a place to live, that Justin Trudeau took their money for this ArriveCAN app. Common sense conservatives told him not to do ArriveCAN, but he went ahead anyway. What were the results of that decision? Well, we now know the results. ArriveCAN costs at least $60 million, 750 times over budget. $12 million could be unrelated to ArriveCAN altogether, even though it was paid out for that purpose. Money given to GC Strategies, we were told it was $9 million, then it became $13 million, and now they say it was $19 million. 18% of the invoices were submitted by contractors who lacked information to determine if expenses were related to ArriveCAN. GC strategists were involved in writing the requirements for the very contract that they would win and profit from. Initial documentation leading to GC Strategies' first $2.3 million contract is missing. Average per diem costs, this is per person per day, were $1,900, far higher than the normal and still exorbitant $675 per person per day the Trudeau government normally throws out the window. 10,000 travelers were wrongly quarantined by Trudeau's ArriveCAN app. Single mothers who couldn't go to work because they got notice that they had to be quarantined. They weren't able to pay for their children's food because their wage was canceled by an app that locked them in their home, unable to work, and wrongly and unjustifiably so. No evidence to show CBSA employees complied with the Code of Conduct. In fact, they were invited to whiskey tasting and other luxurious treats from the very contractors that they were paying your money to. And page 18, some subcontractors did not have the property security clearances, so Trudeau put your private information at risk. While Trudeau says he doesn't have enough money to scan those shipping containers that are taking your car that's been stolen and sending it off to the rest of the world, the very same department that is responsible for our borders and our ports took $60 million or more for the ArriveCAN. More proof that after 8 years, Trudeau is not worth the cost, he's not worth the crime, he's not worth the corruption. That's why we need a common-sense Conservative government that will slash the waste and end the corruption, that will respect your tax dollars. We will cap spending and cut waste to balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. We will axe the carbon tax to lower your food, gas, and heating bills. We will lower income tax so hard work pays off again. We'll clear away the bureaucracy and taxes to build more homes. We'll bring jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders. And we will secure our borders, including our ports, to keep the drug dealers and smugglers from bringing drugs in and car thieves from taking your vehicles out. We will restore the common sense of the common people united for our common home with a clear agenda to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime. It's common sense. Let's bring it home.
Why did your party want to grant over $100 million in regulatory relief to the mainstream media?
We don't want to give any tax dollars to the mainstream media. Our belief is that the mainstream media and all...
Decision, then? Your party's decision to grant regulatory relief?
So I'll answer your question. The media that is bought and paid for, where are you from, by the way? Which outlet are you in? Which outlet? Which outlet?
Canadian Press.
Ah, okay, Canadian Press. So you're talking about tax dollars for media. Isn't CBC your biggest? Isn't no? I can answer. Yeah, and do you want to answer?
Why does your party want to grant $100 million in regulatory relief to the mainstream media?
When would you like me to respond? Okay, good. Okay, great. So, of course, you are a tax-funded media outlet and spreading Justin Trudeau's message.
Why did you
and so you're interrupting me again. You're interrupting me again. I am answering the question.
Do you regret granting $100 million in regulatory relief to the mainstream media?
Your question is false. So if you can allow me to correct your falsehoods, then we can answer the question directly. So, false. Canadian Conservatives do not believe in giving tax dollars to media outlets. That's Justin Trudeau. That's Justin Trudeau. That's Justin Trudeau. Okay, if you don't want me to answer the question, I'll move on to someone else. You're a tax-funded mouthpiece to the PMO. That's the reality. So,
question answered. You committed.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to, but you're heckling. Are you going to let me answer the question, or are you just going to heckle on behalf of Justin Trudeau? Which is it?
I would love the answer.
Great. So our party does not support tax dollars for media outlets, because that's when we end up with biased media like you, who come here and articulate the PMO talking points rather than delivering real news to the Canadian people. Justin Trudeau gave Bell Media and other media tax dollars supposedly to protect media jobs. And then what happened? They all got laid off. So that the supposed justification for giving Bell all this money was that it was going to save media jobs. Well, they all got fired. So I guess that wasn't the real reason for giving tax dollars to the media. The real reason was for him to buy support from the media, which is what it actually did. So we believe that media should be driven by readership viewership and listenership, and that's what allows it to represent the Canadian people rather than taking marching orders from the PMO.
Monsieur Poilievre, la vérificatrice générale ne mentionne nulle part dans son rapport qu'il y a eu de la corruption. Sur quelle preuve est-ce que vous vous basez pour dire qu'il y a eu corruption avec ArriveCAN? Elle n'utilise pas le mot corruption, vous l'utilisez. Sur quelle preuve est-ce que vous vous basez?
Je vais vous donner les exemples.
Non, mais vous les avez déjà lus, mais ça, la vérificatrice générale ne va pas jusqu'à dire que c'est de la corruption.
Parce que moi, je crois que c'est la corruption. Parce que, premièrement, on a dit que c'était 40 000 qu'on allait coûter. Excuse. Ça coûtait 60 millions de dollars, 750 fois plus élevé. 75 des contracteurs n'ont pas, il n'y a aucune preuve qu'ils ont fait du travail. Quand on est payé l'argent pour rien, est-ce que c'est la corruption?
Mais pourquoi, dans ce cas-là, mais pourquoi est-ce que s'il y a de la corruption, pourquoi la vérificatrice générale ne l'a pas mentionné?
Demande à elle.
Believe that the civil service should be able to do more of its own IT work, and if that's the case, when you're Prime Minister, how will you make that happen given that you're looking at cuts?
The answer is yes, and we'll make it happen because we're going to cut back on the outside consultants. So these two things are not in opposition, they are in concurrence. We want to cut back on outside consultants because public servants do the work more accountably and they do it more affordably. We know that because public servants don't cost $1,090 a day. They cost significantly less than that. So we're going to save money by reversing Trudeau's doubling of outside consulting fees. Thank you.
The Auditor General found that the civil service didn't have the skills to do this kind of work. So wouldn't you need to train them, and wouldn't that cost money,
Like
sir?
Phoenix. That didn't go so well.
But there were contractors involved in Phoenix as well.
Sir, I'd like to understand what you will do when you are Prime Minister, sir. The Auditor General found that the civil service didn't have these skills.
Why is it the public service doesn't have these skills? It's insane. We've increased the size of the public service by 50% under Justin Trudeau. And none of those 100,000 extra people have the skills to design an app that a couple of IT workers separately and as a joke designed in a single weekend. How is it possible that a couple of guys got a stack of pizza boxes and a case of beer and as a joke redesigned the ArriveCAN app from scratch in a weekend? And yet the 100,000 public servants Trudeau hired cannot do the very same thing. That points to the fact that he is an incompetent Prime Minister who is wasting our money. He's not worth the cost.
Last question.
Civil service,
The
sir.
Auditor General on the issue of the police investigation, she says in the report that the parts that are already under internal investigation, either by the CBSA or the RCMP, she didn't want to interfere in that, so she didn't go down that road. Are you concerned that that's missing from today's report?
I am, yes, very much so. And that might be one of the reasons why the Auditor General didn't use the same language as I did, is because certain parts of the scandal are not covered in this audit. We need the police to get to the bottom of it. I know that there are certain parts of this that are already under police investigation, and we want the truth to come out, and we want the police's findings to be complete and public so that Canadians know about all the corruption and mismanagement in the Trudeau government.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.